It's time to focus on that one big thing that you do that distinguishes who you are. Welcome to this week's edition of the Marketing Happy Hour. I am one of your hosts, Dr. Christopher Vogelmann of drvogelmann.com, as well as our digital agency, Maximize Your Media. And with me, as always, is...
I'm John Paduchak with Videos Are Social and local marketing strategies, as well as health broadcasters.
That's a lot of stuff. Yeah, health broadcasters. Don't forget that.
I forgot health broadcasters. How could you do that?
I'm suffering from a little LA hangover, but there was no alcohol involved.
That's good.
Down below, another doctor in the house.
Hello, hello, hello. This is Coach Kayvon from Simplify.zone. I help entrepreneurs get unstuck and get back on track.
And you're never alone with Simplify.zone.
Thank you for saying that.
my baritone is coming out today. Hey, so since you were the one who suggested this topic, Kayvon, I'm putting you in charge of directing this conversation because I'm lazy today.
Uh-oh. Okay.
There you go.
I can
to be known for one thing. Both of you were really good at this in our little chat, but I'm sometimes a little confused about narrowing down to one thing.
Right. Okay, I can give it a try to be charged today.
I'm just kidding. But since you suggested the topic,
yes,
I wanted to see. The people sometimes, and this happened to me, by the way, a couple months ago. So, Maximize Your Media. We do social posting, we do some brand work and other things. And one of my clients, because I was going to make a proposal, said you need to really have some better SEO. And one of her clients said, "Well, you're kind of like a jack of all trades, with your agency." And I thought to myself, well, not really. I mean, I hire people who are subcontractors to be able to provide some of the services. But that perception that our agency was just sort of like spread out and we do everything and therefore maybe do nothing really well really bothered me.
Yes. And that's one of it. It really doesn't matter what the quality is. Perception plays a big role. On the other hand, specifically for new clients and getting referrals,
right?
We need to be remembered. Like somebody mentions a situation, a problem, and other people are going, I know a guy for you. I know a business for you, that kind of a thing. And if you're not that thing that they remember us for, then do we really exist as a professional or as a business? Because if a business does not occupy a part of our client's mind, it's just there. It's a meh kind of business. So doing many things in a business is fine. Having a business that has so many different services is fine. But for us, it's important to be known for one thing. So that could be the best thing that we can do. Number two is the door opener for all the other services. So it's important to provide focus, to be known for business so-and-so, for this specific thing. Doesn't matter. Like, for example, hamburger. It's McDonald's, right? But do they sell other things?
It's In and Out.
Or In and Out, but or coffee, Starbucks, right? But that's not the only thing that they sell.
True.
They sell pastries, that they have other drinks and juices and sandwiches and too. So if it's not that you're doomed to only do one thing if you are known for only one thing.
Now, it's funny when you say this. I actually look at this as a two-parter because I want to be known business-wise as the person who can handle your video needs, whatever they might be. But I also want to be known professionally, personally, as a very reliable person, someone who is trustworthy, goes out of the way customer service-wise to help people's problems get resolved. I think it's kind of a bit of a two-parter where I'm concerned, because I'm kind of looking at it, how do I want to be known personally about how I handle things with clients and customers, and then how do I want to be known, or what do I want to be known for professionally? So for me, I kind of look at that question two ways.
Well, personally, John, you're very patient. That's what everybody says.
That's what I hear. I am known as the person who's like super patient, and it's kind of funny.
Super patient. Able to relax with all tasks in a single bound.
And that's kind of the background that I came from, because I originally, when I first started working, I came from an engineering customer support background, and I got the most difficult clients and customers that you can ever imagine. The ones that were screaming and yelling and hollering. And
yeah, but was that true? Was that true also of your financial services business?
I think that kind of goes along, because you always get people who are, jumpy about the market or that.
Right.
I mean, it's always good to be known as somebody who really takes care of customer service issues and really goes kind of the extra mile for people and is very patient and understanding. And I often joke I miss my calling as a therapist.
Well, let me ask you a question, John. Are you like that only in business and your personal life not at all? Or
No, I'm like that both sides.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's like the way that we do anything is the way that we do everything. That's
exactly.
those are the characteristics that you have. And things like being reliable and loyal and all of that, those are things to work on, to aspire to. The idea that I was talking about is when people have a problem and they look for a solution, we want to be reminded, right? Of course, between two solutions, we want to go with the one that's patient and reliable and all of that. But that's
just the one you know the most, or you trust the most because you've had the most exposure to that person.
Yeah.
Or sometimes we don't have exposure to someone, but we get a great referral from someone else to that person. And then you kind of rely on that other person as the conduit. You say, oh, well, so-and-so is super reliable and I trust them. And if this is who they go with, then, that's important too. So
yep,
definitely all plays a role.
When your branding, John, was very interesting to me because you went from targeted net solutions. See, I finally remembered it. It only took a year. To videos are social, which I remember far more easily.
Right. And also it kind of spoke more to what I do, which is help people with complex issues with video and help them incorporate it all into their business. And so it just seemed to fit better for me. And I think we all go through kind of this evolution, not just personally but professionally, where, and it's so funny that you had brought this up, Kayvon, because a few years ago, a close friend of mine had mentioned this and said, when it all comes down to the bottom line, what do you want to be known for?
Yeah.
And so this is something that's always run through the back of my head for years and years and years and years. But I mean, a lot of people kind of rebrand, but we rebranded just because it made more obvious sense with going with a new name.
Yeah. And also many words they can be used in so many different contexts. Like if I just say video, I don't know if I'm talking about video marketing or do I have a studio? Those are all associated with video, right? There are so many different businesses that they're associated with just that word. But when you say videos are social, suddenly it's much more narrowed down. It's much more practicable. Yeah, it comes together. And I right away find out, okay, what's the usage of this? Am I the right customer for it right now? Do I need it right now? And if somebody says, hey, I need to get better with my social media marketing, videos are social, just remember it like that. And I'm not thinking about the guy who can, like, I don't know, shoot videos for your wedding kind of a thing. Right. It's the other video. There's not. So actually, I wrote a 2-part article on this a few years ago on Forbes that I called it the 4-layer method. If you guys like, I can just quickly summarize.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So this came out of a conversation similar to this, which I had with one of my clients. And we were talking, and I was saying, you need to really narrow down how you introduce yourself because you want to be remembered, what we talked about at the beginning. So I gave him the example of, let's say you meet someone and the person says, hey, I'm a personal trainer. Okay, good for you. I know what you do. And 5 minutes later, I'm not going to remember that, right? There are so many people that I have met that they're personal trainers. And I don't know, 3 months from now, if I am looking for a personal trainer, there is not much of a guarantee that I remember that conversation. I would think of other people. But if that person said, hey, I'm a personal trainer, so that's when I said 4 layers, that's layer 1. But if the person says, I'm a personal trainer that only works with women, right there, I know I'm not his client. And if later one of my female friends is talking about personal training, he said, hey, I know this guy who's specialized in, working with women. But if the guy said, now going to the third layer, if the guy said, I'm a personal trainer that only works with women who want to lose extra weight or extra fat. So it's not building muscles, it's not bodybuilding and that sort of thing. And if he said, I'm a personal trainer that I work with only women who want to get rid of the extra weight that they gained through pregnancy. So it's, it's a much narrower market. It is hard for me to forget that. And next time I see two ladies talking about that topic, either during pregnancy or just after that, I can't stop myself from remembering that person and maybe even recommending it, because everybody wants to be helpful. So by saying it like that, you turn everyone into walking billboards, walking advertisements for yourself. Yes.
Yeah. But so the thing is, if you say I am a personal trainer, automatically people sort of tune in to think what that is. Wouldn't you want to say something unusual ahead of the personal trainer? Like I'm a postpartum pounds personal trainer.
Yeah, all of that works. It's a matter of, occupying a specific space in their head. So yes, obviously the way that you present it and all of that. I was talking about the brainstorming of the idea,
of the layering,
rather than the presentation of it. So now if you look at this from multiple angles, let's say first from the angle of the client. And this is also serving our clients too, because let's say I say that, and let's say I'm that personal trainer. I said that to a prospect. One of the two things happens. Either they do sign up or they don't.
Right.
And if they don't sign up and go for another solution, another trainer, or just do something by themselves, or buy P90X or even do nothing, the whole time they are comparing that to this, this was designed specifically for who I am and the stage that I am. And I settled for the second best, maybe, right? So we know our clients' belief in our services that this is the right thing for me is going to help them to take better advantage of it. And at the same time, if they do sign up, the whole time they believe I made the right choice for myself. So they will get better results. That's one angle of it. Yeah. The second angle, from the angle of sales conversation. If I'm a personal trainer and I work with all sorts of people, I need to have many modified versions of selling to, young people and old people and men and women and kids that they're going to school or post. And all of that, I can never get really good at any of those sales conversations. But if I have only this target market to talk to all the time, after a while, I'll, becoming very good at it and developing mastery is much easier.
Unless you're Peloton, right, John?
Right. I mean, but they're very good at honing in on their target market. They just do it in segments, which is what's kind of unique about them. But they still are superb at, very specifically cutting through and saying, we serve this person, we serve this group, we serve this. But they're very specific in how they serve each group, and they're all different.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Ed was showing me something last week where he redesigned a dentist site, and he redesigned it with the children that the dentist sees in mind. Women who are pregnant have different needs, dental needs. Older, middle-aged people, older people, we all have different dental needs.
But doesn't that bring that? But that brings to the whole notion, the idea that generalists get paid, specialists get rich.
Perhaps.
So in a general I would imagine that a general dentist is harder to market than a specialist. Somebody like I'm an orthodontist. I straighten teeth. I create beautiful smiles or something. I mean, because I've seen this within chiropractic too. So I had a general chiropractic practice, but I tended to specialize mostly in personal injury work. And so I had good relationships with the attorneys and others, and they only thought of me pretty much as the guy who takes care of their car accident clients.
And that higher cost marketing and less profitable marketing is one of the reasons, the difference between getting paid and getting rich, because your marketing dollars are also bringing less, the value back.
Right.
So your focus, Kayvon, you're talking about being like the simplifier or simplifying or simplification. And your tagline getting people unstuck, or what was it?
Yeah, it's I help overworked entrepreneurs get unstuck, get back, and stay on track.
Okay.
Right.
And is there a specific age range, or are you just like any entrepreneur?
It's a company size range.
Got it. Company size.
Yes. So it's like the Peloton thing. It's distinguishing yourself and separating yourself from other options, which is, I don't know, outdoor workout or come to the gym workout. This is at home kind of a thing. So they're already with a bunch of layers of separating themselves. And in my case, it works best for companies who are somewhere around like, let's say 4 to 12 kind of people, 5 to 10. So bigger than that, yes. If it's group training, I can be helpful. Smaller than that, they are still not ready because I need them to hit a ceiling of complexity and being busy. And because to a certain point, we can just work harder and work longer and still get things done. But after a while, business grows and you have more people on your team. You have to change your methods. What have got you here can't get you where you want to go. And that's where you need to reframe or reformat the way that you work. And that's where I come in. Make sense?
Yeah. So you will help them not to fail when they want to scale.
Hey, I'm going to write that down.
Write that one down.
Yes.
Or you can just listen to the recording.
Just listen to the recording later. Don't bother writing.
I'm going to actually take that and put it like in front of my intro for my podcast.
Minute 17.
You should live marketing ideas.
Yes. There
And
you
our
go.
brainstorming. Do I need my umbrella for the brainstorm? Why, yes, you do.
They don't call this marketing happy hour for nothing.
Oh yeah. In fact, I'm just drinking water. You'd think this was vodka based upon the reactions I'm getting. Hey, John, what are you drinking today?
Just a usual concoction.
What is it?
It's a sports drink of sorts.
Oh, it's a sports drink. Okay.
Mine is water.
Doing marathons or sort of
Long story.
long sports?
Is that sarcasm?
No, it wasn't sarcasm.
No, it's not sarcasm.
No, he was on a lunch club earlier with somebody who has a sports supplement company. So,
It's kind of a similar thing. It's like a prebiotic kind of sports drink.
there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Prebiotic. Hey, so for me, I think it's been really tough to narrow things down because I used to be a public speaker and talk to large groups. I used to train doctors all across the US and Canada. I think I'm probably more known to some of my marketing friends and gurus as sort of the unrelentingly optimistic and humorous guy. And so I think in some ways I'm a little bit like you, Kayvon, insofar as I see myself maybe more as a catalyst for change and help people to get unstuck so they can make their own luck. That was my
but who's that people?
it's pretty easy.
I can help.
It's 45 to 60-year-old doctors and other healthcare professionals who are thinking of retiring but are afraid to retire and want to get into a lifestyle of more free time, freedom, and fun with an online business of their own. And they don't have that kind of freedom now because their investments haven't panned out. Their associate doctors have quit on them. They have staff problems, cranky patients, and COVID has just wreaked havoc upon their practice. Yeah. And so they're looking either for a secondary stream of revenue or something into which they can retire.
Which is a very vivid picture and good description.
Because I am my own avatar.
But my question is, can you do all of that in 2 words or 1 word?
2 words?
Yeah, because if it's not like that, because when we say something, we known for something, people need to raise their hand. So my version of that was overworked entrepreneurs, and people can say, yes, that's me, or not me. So what is yours? Is it like pre-retirement doctors?
No, that's
something that is short and in 2 seconds so we have a chance to go to description.
Frustrated doctors.
Yeah, that works.
So,
yeah, mine would be overwhelmed with video or overwhelmed by video and technology in a couple words.
Yeah. So that would be our one thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the answer, if somebody meets us, hey, hi, John, what do you do?
Hi.
Basically, what
Hi,
what they're asking is, what problem do you solve and for whom?
Right.
So if
And
we can just, what's that?
And quickly.
And quickly. Yeah.
And I was going to say one thing, as Dr. V was saying, that so frequently we have a bit of a broad view of what we do, and I find that is so common. We were going through something recently in our group, and one of the women said that she works in the waste management category, and she's trying to find ways to market her business. And what came out of that is when we asked a few specific questions, it turns out that they do like home cleanouts, business cleanouts, which is a little different than actually, debris and trash and that. And so it's so important to be as specific early on as you can. And the more you go through this, you can really see why businesses fail early on, because they didn't get really specific enough and really define who they were before they started.
And the biggest advantage missing is if we are not specific, we can't get attention.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
So how would you describe her in 2 words? Like purge specialist?
No, I think what it really came down to is a clean-out specialist.
Clean-out
like a home clean-out or business clean-out specialist is what it really came down to. And that kind of encompasses a couple of different things, but it puts a different picture in your mind. And what was happening is that she was establishing herself in a different category than where she actually was. And so nobody really knew what she was doing. And so that goes further, because then you start to wonder, well, she said she did Facebook ads. Were the Facebook ads tuned in enough? Is her Google My Business tuned in enough? Frankly, is any of the marketing tuned in enough? So really understanding like who you are and seeing what the other opportunities for who you are
yes,
really helps a lot. And I mean, it's almost everything, getting that down right at the first moment.
Yeah, before I moved to California, I actually hired a professional organizer. And gosh, what's her? I want to say Carrie Papalardo was her last name. And so Papalardo, but she went by Pop Organizer.
There you go.
That was pretty good. So there's like some instantaneous implied meaning in there, and then I would get organized. And she actually pared down all my stuff by at least 2/3 or more, so that I had far less to move to California.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's awesome. I think we are on a like a good train of thought here. I have a question for you guys. How about we turn this around?
All right.
What are some of the businesses or professionals that you can think of that they done a good job on this? As in, they are known for one thing, or they're easy to remember, or easy to connect, and therefore easy to refer.
Oh gosh.
FedEx, when it absolutely has to be there overnight.
Sure.
Yeah. How about this? We come up with products, and we see what business comes to mind. Like, how earlier I said coffee
or whole phone. Cell phone.
Cell phone. Many people. How about beer?
Beer. Sam Adams.
No. Guinness.
Sam Adams comes to mind.
I have 3 Guinnesses in the fridge. Wait, with my name on it.
Now here's the interesting.
But the average consumer would be something like Budweiser, probably, or they would say
they would say that.
It would be Bud or Corona
or Coors.
Something more popular. Coors. We called that Colorado Kool-Aid when I lived in Texas.
We're beer snobs. So
yeah, we are.
And at the same time, I thought about a local pub.
There you go.
Oh.
See, knowing that's the part of the psychology, and let's see what happens in the mind that we can work with now.
When you said that, I did think about like a couple local microbreweries too, because we have that going. We're big in that department around here too. So,
okay, very good. Printer.
HP.
Yeah, I think about HP too.
Yeah, I usually think of Epson.
Although I do have an Epson downstairs, and yet I think of HP.
Okay, shoes.
Clark's.
I usually think Cole Haan for shoes.
My 13-year-old would think Versace.
I think Nike.
Nike.
Yeah.
I'm thinking dress shoes. You didn't say sneakers.
Well, I said shoes. Those are athletic shoes. So.
Yeah, they're athletic shoes.
Yeah, Snickers is a chocolate bar.
No,
see, we're playing association game name, right?
It's a little hard to.
That's a hard one because shoes are a difficult one for me because we hike and all this stuff. I usually look at them in segments like these are outdoor shoes or hiking shoes or athletic shoes or dress shoes.
Well, you're not Kayvon's ideal customers, clearly.
No, actually, that's what John just pointed out. It's very, very interesting. You guys remember that concept that comes from Eugene Schwartz's book, the Breakthrough Representation, was the market sophistication.
Right.
Yeah.
So the level of sophistication when it comes, what's that?
And sophisticated.
So yes. So like somebody might think, here's the thing. I don't drink alcohol, right? So when you say wine, I just think something, a red liquid. But the ones that they are wine drinkers now, they have specific things to think about. So the same thing just happened here. When we say something like shoes, John started to, think about different categories and all of that. Right. So let's turn it around. Who is it that I want to serve and what level of sophistication they are? So what kind of a language should I say? Boots or sneakers or dress shoes? What language am I going to use in that way of to be known for and associated with that term so I can be remembered?
Fashion footwear.
There you go.
Well, that's another one too. Sure.
Interesting. So, but when we come with our personal brand, though, it's interesting that you want to be known as the guy or the gal. So when somebody does say, as you mentioned earlier, I know a guy.
Yes.
So can you condense that into one word, or you want 2 words or 3 words?
Well, I have it right after my name, implementation coach.
Implementation coach.
Okay, because
the
idea is good. Plans and strategy are fine, but if they are not implemented, so the guy who can help you get unstuck, get back, and stay on track, getting things done, basically.
And that's a fact.
And
that's a fact. Yeah.
And unstuckifying people is a big thing these days.
Yes.
Unstuckify.com.
This is certainly part of what I do that unstuckifies people.
What's interesting, I think we all 3 of us
all
stick people in some way. And we do it with different media, and we do it with different methodologies. I mean, I used to teach doctors hypnosis.
Yes,
for example. So
because there are so many ways that all people can get stuck in so many different aspects of life. And for all of those, we need help. Like we are sitting here and we have so many different various people that they help us as specialists in our life. The guy that fixes my car or the one that I go for a massage, those are all people who are, facilitate something. Now, sometimes it's called simplifying. Sometimes it's called clarity. Sometimes it's called unstuck. That's basically doing business, offering a service in a nutshell.
Sure.
I think I want to be a kinetic coach.
Kinetic coach?
Yeah, because kinetic is supposed to potential energy. You have kinetic energy. So you move. That's another K for you, Dr. K.
What's that? K. Yeah, there you go.
Kayvon Kay, kinetic coach. But that'd be 4 Ks.
Yeah. That was close.
with another K. That's the 5th K.
Yeah.
I'm just going to spell close with a K from now on. Clarity is going to be spelled with a K also. Up to 6 or 7 Ks so far.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I always thought letter C is extra. We don't need it. Because if it's the K sound, we have K. If it's the S sound, we have S. Why do we need C?
Unless you want to be very sophisticated like John, and then you need to be chic, which begins with a C.
Yeah, or chair. So we might as well just go ABCD instead of ABCD, like Bocconcini.
Meanwhile, getting this train back on track now that it has derailed. Okay, so not unusual for this.
Let's focus.
Focus. My favorite word is fun. It should be focus.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing. So, John, when you talk about in your varied career, do you bring up all these things about you being in digital imaging before and all these other things, or do you just say, "Hey, I help you get unstuck with your video problems," or do you say, "I'm the guy who can create your live video event"? I mean, what's the lead phrase, let's say, after you say maybe 2 words as to who you are?
I think it depends a little bit. So usually the first few things that I say usually bring up something else. And then I kind of lead off of that, because I do a couple different things, and I just want to make sure that, obviously I'm speaking to them in a way that guides them in a particular direction. And again, marketing is a filter. So maybe they're not the right client for me, but at the same point, I want to guide them into the right perspective of whatever they're looking for. So sometimes I mention different things that I did in my previous background, because sometimes they actually fit in with whatever we're talking about.
Especially if you had an RIT graduate alum. Some people.
That's where my marketing background came from. I started marketing early in life and had some great teachers, mentors that used to be superb marketers for places like Heinz Ketchup and Kraft and different places around here.
So Kayvon, what did you have before the implementation coach with the branding that you had before?
Well, I have to say this implementation is something that came up many times in conversation. So it's based on the feedback that I got from the market. So let's call it like this, right? And before that, the other term that I was using was, and you guys, I think you saw it too, Kayvon Kay simplifier, which again was something that came up from conversations with people. Simplifier is very good. It makes a lot of sense. People say, I don't know, like sometimes people say, I don't know what that is, but I want it. But it wasn't practical, as in action-oriented. But when I say implementation coach, it's much more connected to the problem of being stuck. Simplifier has an extra step in between to get to that. And I think this is, and I also notice this is where my strength is, because there are many reasons for implementation not happening. Sometimes it's complexity, sometimes it's feeling stuck, sometimes it's imposter syndrome. And with clarity and simplification, all of that can happen. So implementation, the method is through simplification or clarity.
I just remember that the simplifier was what Tom Beal uses.
Yeah.
That comes to mind immediately. So,
Tom and I had this conversation, and I told him.
Oh, you did?
I had simplifier on my card, and he said, I like it. And I think about a year or so later, he had the domain name, and I was doing it. He sent me a message, hey, look, I'm using this thing. He said, hey, dude, that's mine.
Dude. You can just get simplifier.co or IO or something.
But at the same time, good for him. See, he's now doing a better job in associated himself with that one thing. As you said, we all do that.
He implemented that.
Implementation. Yes, there you go.
And that's all right. It was an idea that didn't serve you either. I mean, the thought served you, but you took it and evolved it to another step forward for you.
Yes.
So who cares?
Well, here's the thing. Even if we're doing exactly the same thing, the market is so huge that with both of us working full time, there's still so many people that they can benefit from what we do. So I think if it's only the two of us, we need about 1,000 more of us.
Right. It's the only reason I jokingly say that is because it's so funny how many people will say, well, I'm really concerned because that's my kind of piece of my intellectual property, or it's the way that I'm seen by others. And what if somebody copies that? And there's plenty of room for that. And there's plenty of other ways to distinguish yourself besides worrying about something, so small as that.
Yeah. There is this choice to be made. Do you want to spend your focus and energy on creation or competition?
Right.
And I rather to be creative and fine tune what I'm doing and be complementary to everybody else and find my path and serve more people rather than trying to worry about other things or stop other things and all of that.
Well, and to compete with yourself as opposed to other people, like the past version of myself.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm my own critic, competition, best friend. All of that.
Best friend, critic, judge, jury, and executioner.
Yes, these are the advantages of being an introvert.
Yes.
Boy.
And an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Winning combination.
It's the winning combination.
It really is.
So one of my friends, Sam Crowley, I took some podcast coaching stuff. Ironically, bought the microphone, never did the podcast. So he even has a podcast with me. I mentioned this before in another show, of being Dr. Fun. And so he said, I would, if I'm scrolling through iTunes, I would stop and look at Dr. Fun, whatever it is. And, and I struggled with that. It's somebody else giving you branding, because I thought, well, does it mean I have to be funny all the time? I don't think I'm very funny. I think I don't have that much of a sense of humor. I can't believe that I would ever do this. And so there's a lot of self-doubt, a lot of self-talk, and a lot of sort of the imposter syndrome that you'd mentioned earlier. And so in coming up with something that was sort of movement based, because I think a lot of the work that I did in the past was sort of motivation, inspiration, speaking type of thing, with a lot of other tools sprinkled in to get people unstuck, as we were talking about earlier. And so I came up with a word about 2 years ago, called fundamental, which you see right there.
Yes.
Right there. Okay. So I took fundamental, which is a very common word. And as I told somebody at Rich Sheffrin's birthday party, I said, I took the duh out and I put you in.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And they kind of like that. And I tested this through a number of different people, and even some high level 7-figure software salespeople and others. And and they all seem to resonate with this. But then, if you're creating a movement, but then do you specify? Yeah, because I wanted a name for a company that didn't have my name in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember this from chiropractic, because if you had Vogelmann Chiropractic Center and you brought an associate doctor in, they wouldn't necessarily resonate with latching on to my surname necessarily. But if you created, like, say, Ultra Back and Neck Pain Center or something marvelous, Inner Light Living or whatever it is, you might get a buy-in from your staff as well as the other associate doctors in a group practice setting, as opposed to latching on to a single person's name.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, also is scalable, also sellable.
Scalable, yeah, saleable. Yeah. Scalable and saleable. That's what I was looking for.
And at the same time, it's easier for clients or patients say, yeah, that's for me.
Yeah.
What is that painkiller? Aleve or something, right? Yeah. It sounds like relief, alleviate pain, that's something. So you said, yeah, that, as opposed to
that.
Yeah, I want some of that, exactly.
Give me some of that stuff.
What is that? Anti-insect, something gone?
Off.
Oh,
off, yeah.
Off.
So off. So those things, going back to Eugene Schwartz, he was talking about, he's saying there are only two types of words: the picture words and non-picture words.
Right.
And if we say something that does not create a picture in their head, then it's not communicating a message. And also the advanced level, he was talking about the words that they can say something. They when you say them, they can have multiple meaning. When I say sail, it could be the sail on a boat, but also sail as in the act of sailing, or 30% off, or the act of sailing. Yeah. So you can work with all of that. Simplify is the, again, from the client feedback. But before that, which again come in another conversation, I used to call my service soul focus, as in your one and only focus.
Oh, not as in the bottom of my Nike shoe that we talked about.
Yeah, or not the spirit.
Got it. Yeah.
Right. But when I said soul focus, your one and only focus, I could remember I could say the focus twice, but at the same time, I'm making a connection with the soul, right? Which talks about that the inner game of entrepreneurship, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that sort of thing.
That one thing.
Picture words.
Picture. So pictures are interesting too, because in John's quest for the videos or social, we were formulating something with respect to the logo too. I thought that was pretty interesting, that process.
You got something?
We did play with a few things. I don't know. Can I get my screen up? You talk amongst yourselves while I figure out where I can find this thing.
Yeah, we did come up with a couple unique.
We played with a couple of things, and
I love it how a logo or a picture, they can communicate the main message to you, or make sense, or just be remembered. Since I was a kid, I always paid attention to those things, that how logos interact with us, and also like luxury brand have their own version of communicating with us, and or Nike swoosh gives you the whole energy feeling movement kind of a thing. I find it, there are a bunch of Instagram accounts that I follow. It's all about logo and logo design and practice and that sort of thing. I always find it very intriguing.
Always interesting.
Yes.
It is. I'm going to try and share the screen here.
Yes.
Let me see.
Let's
I'm going to do the share. I'm going to do, this is the interesting thing about doing this. When you do the sharing of the screen, you have to be very specific. So I'm just going to go to a tab rather than have to force you to see my gigantic, messy tab-filled screen here. I think this should
2000
work.
tab.
Can you see that? That's Canva.
Yes.
Ah, you can see it. Okay. So this is what we had for a while, was this videos are social, which was kind of fun. It was just taking a few icons and playing with them. And we went through so many versions. This was we were trying to get an image that actually could be used on dark backgrounds. And then some things with the words that were videos are social. But I do like the fact that we had a player.
Yeah.
And a bunch of people. And so that now here, this was people talking about, and there's the video camera as opposed to a player. And so coming up with these images, and there's the video camera with the player. And in coming up with these images, it was just, it was very interesting to see the different reactions that people had to it.
Yes.
And what different, the meaning was different too. If you're just the player, like a YouTube video icon, it almost implied that you were a little more passive. But if you had the player that was talking in the speech bubble, it was like, well, people are going to be talking about your videos because they're so social. But in the other one, if it had the camera that had the player and the camera, the implication was that you were going to have to do videos as opposed to consume videos.
Yes. Yeah. It's not a player, it's a video production.
Yeah.
Right. Have you tried with left and right as opposed to on top of each other? So because if it's left and right, it implies process. Yeah. Right.
Well,
and
we create
videos. Yeah, we create videos for the social impact of it. Because I don't know, people behind could mean also this is covering them. So you want to put. Do you guys remember that when iPods were coming out, the Apple ads were these black people, just silhouettes with the white headphones. So the thing that it was criticized for is that you're taking the people out, and it's all about your product. So like people are nothing, kind of a thing. So that was something interesting for me to. It did a fantastic job as in highlighting the headphone.
Yeah.
But at the cost of taking people out. So left and right could help with not only the process but also not cover people. And connect them to video kind of thing.
But we did this too because you needed to have something which actually described this in greater process. So we did do the left and right, but we did it insofar as the importance was to create more awareness of the actual words of the brand. And this was the drop shadow, which I'm still playing with because we need to be able to layer that on dark backgrounds, for example. There's the black and white version. This did not work. That's a fail. Several things have failed along the way, but it's, as they say, marketing is an endless series of experiments. And I think just
it is.
I was looking at that and I thought, with the videos, maybe the O or the D had the player in it. And another letter in social can be like a person going happy. So you can play around with
could put a smiley face on there for you, Kayvon. Are you going to pose for us?
There you go.
I'll take the screenshot and then digitize your.
I'll
put John's
for your logo.
Put John's face in there.
Oh.
Smiling John, RV John will take care of all your things.
Right.
Hey, so did you identify with RV John when Cam was talking to us about that? Did you think that was a good thing to have as part of your branding, John?
Oh, me?
Yeah. RV John.
Yeah, I could see where it could fit. Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought it could fit really well. One of my friends always told me I should create a podcast called Java with John.
Java with John. There's the John's Java Jive.
John. So yeah, no, I do kind of identify with that. I mean, I spend a lot of time in it in the summertime. So
yeah, but it was also, we've done a number of videos where you're sitting either in the captain's chair or in the passenger seat.
We even done a couple marketing happy hours with me.
Exactly. From
there, sure.
From the chair that makes you care. RV John and the marketing happy hour.
Nice, quiet, extra place to work around the house. So.
Well, people can't reach you, and you pull the shades down so they can't find you.
Yeah.
RV's closed.
So focus. It's interesting that we went back to that thing about the specialists. Generalists get paid, specialists get rich. Do you see yourself, Kayvon, as a simplifying specialist in so far as opposed to if you took away implementation coach, or do you lead with implementation coach? I'm the implementation coach at simplify.zone.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Yes.
So John, how would you?
To answer your question,
okay.
I see myself a student of never-ending process of specializing, because many of our services could help anyone.
Mm-hmm.
But who do we really want to work with? So I could have said busy people, but I said overworked entrepreneurs.
Right.
So narrowing it down, specializing it, it's a never-ending process, kind of.
Well, like for me, it was frustrated doctors. I pushed a lot of emphasis in the doctors. The reality is that I found a lot of nurse practitioners and nurses and dentists and others. And so I changed it to healthcare professionals, but I was wondering if I was being too broad by going into healthcare professionals.
It only matters if they see themselves as that word or not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, overwork is easier in my case. I'm talking about my brainstorming process. Like, overworked is a word that while it's easy to admit, hey, I am that, but also it does not also admission of guilt or mistake or that kind of a thing, right? For my service, for somebody who's, I don't know, I remember Joe Polish was talking about broke carpet cleaners. So that when somebody is ready to say my business is not making money, that could work. So we have to think or ask the market to see if that's the word that they see themselves as. If the word is frustrated, we go with that. If they have another supplemental word or another thing, say, I wouldn't say frustrated, I would say this. That's a clue for us to see what is it that they call it.
But that's what I'm wondering. So I almost resonate more with the overworked, although frustrated was the first thing that came out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Because of all the little things that go wrong in a practice and what I believe is a broken business model from an entrepreneurial standpoint. But I could see overworked doctors. But then again, almost every doctor will say, well, I'm overworked.
Yeah, well, that's what you want, because the purpose of that is to let's have a conversation.
Yeah,
it's a conversation.
How come you're not enjoying life? What can we do to make your life more enjoyable?
Yeah. Also, if you remember from what Rich was saying, that the lesson that he learned from Clayton Makepeace was he was saying add the S to the verb that you're using. Like this process simplifies copywriting for you. Or
liberates.
Okay, as opposed to liberate yourself. Right. So it's a work that you have to do, or the process is doing the work for you. So frustrated or a hardworking doctor that's experiences frustration. So they have different emotional weight to them.
An overworked, frustrated doctor who believes that practice sucks. That's rather depressing, actually.
I'm thinking about the TV ad. Does your practice suck?
Yeah. I was actually going to use the line for the subject for one of the first emails was actually practice sucks. And that would just that would actually repel people, which I love, as well as attract people.
Yeah.
Because I almost want that initial repulsion or at least reaction.
Yeah.
It's a filtration mechanism.
It is.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the big worries for a lot of entrepreneurs is like, I don't want to exclude anyone. I don't want to offend anyone. I don't want to push anyone away from me. But the reality is, and it's true of any profession, which is if you try to be all things to all people, you are nothing to no one.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's pretty cool. Yeah. So I got my overworked, frustrated doctors who want to go on a vacation, but they can't afford to. Okay. So we got about 10 minutes left or so that we can play. Let's play some more. So in your marketing, so John, what do you have for taglines or anything like that? I don't remember what that was for videos or social. Was there a tagline? I can't remember.
We do have a tagline. You don't remember it?
I don't remember it. Even though I helped you to create it. I don't remember it.
More internet, more interaction, more perfect customers.
Ah, yes. That was brilliant. Who came up with it?
Say it again.
More interaction, more perfect customers.
More engagement, wasn't it?
More engagement, more perfect customers.
More engagement, more perfect customers, or more perfect clients, or something like that.
Yeah.
What did you want to put perfect in there?
He likes perfect. I like ideal, but we both.
Well, no, you like happy.
Happy. I wanted them to be happy and having a good time.
He wanted happy, and I wasn't so concerned about happy because I always talk about video being the attractor for your perfect customers.
Yeah.
Because they are that filter that really clues people into you or helps them resonate with you.
Uh-huh.
So I felt that perfect customer actually fit better than happy.
As in the deliverable of your service for your clients. They get perfect clients.
Yes. I mean, I like that they're happy. I want them to be happy, but I think it's more important that they attract their perfect clients or customers.
Yes, more engagement with perfect clients.
More engagement with perfect clients. Actually, I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just speaking, so I wasn't.
You were just speaking.
I'm conversing. I wasn't trying to redo your tagline.
I'm going to reword it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing as we end this 12-step program. No. Yeah, exactly. So who is your ideal client, John? That's what I want to find out.
So my ideal client is professionals that typically are 45 to 60. And it's a pretty even balance of male, female that I attract. And they really feel like they're not doing enough videos or video work with their websites and social media. And the two really interlink. So in other words, if you don't have everything set up socially correctly, your videos aren't nearly as effective. So that's why we changed our name, because it just made so much more sense.
So how do they actually know that they need more video, though? I mean, do they come to you saying, hey, I know that my competitors have this?
It's kind of the age-old story. They see all of this video. I mean, most of the content probably in the next 2 years is going to be 85% video. And they just go, I'm not doing anything video oriented, or I just don't know how, or I'm stuck in it. I've got if you look at my LinkedIn profile, I think it describes pretty well, like what I do in the process.
The anti-procrastination.
Well, that's the part that you added, but the first four sentences that Dean put together, I think we're really genius and really kind of honing that down.
Yeah.
You asked me what those 4 sentences are right now. I couldn't regurgitate them, but if you go look at my LinkedIn profile and you look at like the first 4 sentences, it really narrows down the audience. And then we did a little thing for Clubhouse, or Dr. Reed did for me. They really I loved it because it took it like the next level. It even took it further. And
there's more detail. Yeah.
I don't think we could have been much more detailed with what I do on LinkedIn. And I've got some great comments from it. I've had people just message me and go, anti-procrastination specialist, love it.
They like that one, apparently.
They love that one. It was perfect. And then they had a lot, even in developing that. My friend Dean creates LinkedIn profiles for people. He's a master copywriter, and he had a group of us, 4 people, and he did them live, and they're actually on LinkedIn. So like, if you want to see how a profile is written out perfectly, go look at my LinkedIn profile.
It says a strategic video webinar marketing.
Yeah.
Is that the one?
No, So it's like
Hang on. I'm actually going to share it. Hang on. Let me go.
It's a description below. But Dean did a fantastic job. And what was cool is I think I was the only one that all 4 of the other people that were there piped in and said, oh, man, this really resonates with me. I'd want you to say, I mean, they helped put the language together. So I thought that was pretty cool. That's it.
So here's the strategic video: online summits, live virtual events, webinar marketing. You can have a simple and effective setup for making videos and getting them out to the world, somewhere where everything is automatic and it just works. You have a business to run. The video thing isn't your real job. Right now, it's time-consuming effort that you know you need to do, but you can't seem to get a handle on. That's pretty good. I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, here's where my stuff came in.
Yeah. So yours came in.
I was very emoji oriented.
But you did a great job of going through it and saying, this is all the detailed stuff that you put together for people, and I love that. So that I thought was really cool. But Dean did a really nice job in 4 sentences. Really. Right.
And here's you get unstuck when things go wrong.
Yeah.
There you are, getting unstuck also.
I think I want us to go deeper with this, and
we could.
How about another topic could be just about the LinkedIn about, and we can go over our own LinkedIn abouts and analyze them and give each other feedback and do that live. And
this could be good.
Yeah.
But we spent a lot of time on this because people like emojis. They stand out in your LinkedIn profile now.
Yeah. Yes.
And that I think is huge. But those 4 sentences that Dean put together, everybody that was working at the same time on this profile thing that we're doing, they were just like, yeah, man, I need to hire you. It
was almost like it was a crowdsourced profile.
It was cool. It was totally a crowdsourced moment. And then, we see that a lot in our mastermind group too, where, like yesterday we had a big thing about AI in marketing, talking about using AI for social media and copy and all of the things that AI is coming into play with now, because we've been playing a lot with new tools for that. And we ended up in like a huge crowdsourced conversation about AI yesterday that was pretty unbelievable. So
beautiful.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Crowdsourcing stuff.
I'm sorry. So we're almost up to the top of the hour here. Any final thoughts about focusing and honing down into one big thing that describes who you are? I mean, I know that you mentioned, Kayvon, earlier that you can be known for this one big thing and then apply it in different ways or have ancillary services.
Yeah. And I think it all came perfect together, as in we were talking about this idea of importance of being known for one thing, and now we can see how all of it comes together, becomes very practical and ready to communicate in John's about. So that's a piece of marketing. The same sort of thing can happen to every other marketing decision or content that we create. So this was a perfect example of the whole thing.
Good ending.
Yes.
It was a happy ending. Or perfect ending. Perfect.
Let's go with that.
More engagement ending.
Oh, more engagement than you can possibly handle. So please be sure to put your comments down below. Give us a few hearts when you're looking at the replay. Even angry faces. We love angry faces if we need to. And if you have any questions or comments, please put them down here. You can find us on the page.
And I'll be back on Wednesday again next week.
We're going back to Wednesday.
Talking about LinkedIn about.
I went to LA, next to and for some reason nobody wanted to take over, so we brought it back to Friday. It's sort of a nostalgic kind of thing.
Yeah.
It needs to be on.
Maybe I'll see if I can bring in a guest speaker for Wednesday.
You could bring in a guest speaker, as long as that speaker has been approved by committee and has passed the drug and alcohol test.
Yeah.
So
that
they bring alcohol is what I'm saying.
No problem.
Right. We'll be back next week at the regular time, which is 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. If it's Wednesday, it's time for the Hump Day Marketing Happy Hour. We will see you then, as soon as I can find that button to end this thing. There we go.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.